One moment.
I can hear you typing.
So, okay, can you see me?
No. Oh, yeah, kind of, but you're like in a little box in the corner.
Hold on. We're going to go with this. So I tried to figure out a title screen for this week, and apparently it didn't work out as well as I thought it would. But we're going to go with what we have, and we're going to have some fun. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of Nerd Attempts to Save the World. Tonight's show is going to be a little different. So last week, after the show was done, my beautiful, lovely, wonderful wife was explaining to me that I have some habits that need to be broken. So here's how tonight's show is going to work. My lovely wife can be cued by all of you to correct my bad habits. And here's how you're going to do it. If I do any of the 4 following things, you are more than welcome to say in the comments, it is time for Kate to do a correction. The first one is, and I'm doing these as examples, so do not start yet. If I tap the desk, like so, then you are to tell Kate I am doing so, and she will come and correct me. If I say, a few times, or 100 times, you yell violation in your little chat, Kate will come down and correct me. If I ramble about something and it's time for me to move on to another part of my segment, Kate will come down and correct me. And if for some reason wave my hands too much in front of the camera or scratch my nose or anything along those lines, Kate will come down and correct me. All she needs is a cue from the audience, and we'll see what she's come up with. She's had free reign to do what she wants to me. So, let's get on with the show. First, we're going to talk about the funny story of the week. We're going to talk about Walking Dead. We're going to talk about Star Wars. We're going to talk about Nerd's Guide to Dating. Those are the 3 subjects I've picked for the second episode. But first, we're going to talk about the funny story of the week. So about 4 days ago, I was upstairs just checking on my phone like everyone does, and I saw a wonderful article about a woman who owns a snake. The snake got stuck one day in a very peculiar way. She was petting her snake, ha ha ha, and she has these big lobes on her ears that are just hang down. The snake thought it looked like fun and climbed into her ear and got lodged there and stuck. Could not reverse, could not go forward. She had a snake earring, and I thought that was hilarious. What made it even more hilarious was the fact that she had to go to the emergency room, and she posted the picture of the snake in her ear on Instagram, and the comments were amazing. The one that stuck with me, and is my advice for the week, is a gentleman saying, just rub a little oil on it and tickle its butt. So, if you find yourself in a tight situation, just rub some oil on it and tickle its butt. We're going to get into first. I did, didn't I? Okay. Well, we'll see how much we can get done. We're going to talk about The Walking Dead. It's coming back. It's coming back in February. It's the part 2 of the season that we're currently in. I think it's season 7. It's been on for a while. Now, I want to talk about the episodes from the previous season. I mean, episode 1 of this season was very dark, was very raw. It's something that I really enjoy when TV shows do, especially with something like The Walking Dead, because there's a lot of situations that are not indicative of our world right now, but is very indicative of their world. And so to see them, spoiler alert, kill off some characters in that first episode, it was very hard to watch. It was very hard to watch Negan break Rick. I'm pretending like I don't hear you. And so, oh boy.
Say one more time with baby oil.
Oh boy. Jesus.
Say honey.
God. Okay. Seriously. She's going to have too much fun with this tonight, but I smell amazing. Anyways, so, just went back upstairs. So with that first thing, and then what ended up happening is the season, I felt in some ways lost its way. And what I mean by that is they absolutely focused on a lot of the ancillary characters or the side characters. We weren't getting a lot of the main characters until like later in the later in the episodes. So you're watching these episodes and you're paying attention to these characters that don't feel as well developed or as someone we're championing. Well, I can't say that word, but anyways. Like Rick and Michonne and Carl, these are people that we followed from the beginning, from season 1. I really enjoy those characters a lot. This is a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be. So, with with where they're going with the next season. What I'm looking forward to is I'm looking forward that Rick is going to be getting his cojones back. I believe that there is going to be a major confrontation between him and Negan. I'd like to see how that plays out. It seems like they're building, and I have not read this far in the comics. I have read most of them, but I have not read past Alexandria. So what I want to say is that what I'm giving right now is just hypothetical things that I would like to see. I don't know anything about where the story is going. I would like to see Rick and Negan have it out. I would like to see the Saviors against Rick's team in Alexandria, Hilltop, with Jesus, who I think is one of the most compelling new characters in the show. I would like to see Maggie take over. It's like a nervous tick. I can't seem to stop myself from saying it. So, I would like to see where the romance is going to go between Carl and the other character. I think that this is going to be a very fun, more rewarding part of the second season as opposed to the first season, our first half of the season. The first half of the season did feel like building. I'm smelling even better. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Woo! Feeling a little powdery. I haven't tapped my desk yet. Just want to mention that. So, I'd like to see them really build to a really epic battle between Negan and his saviors and Rick leading the other crew. I would like to see some kind of reconciliation after that happens. I'd love to see Negan die. I hate to see Negan die. I think that if they are going to kill off Negan, though, it has to be an amazing, amazing death. Just like when they killed off the governor and they had 3 people, different people, give him finishing blows. I think it's going to be amazing to see what they do with how they're going to kill him off. This was much more difficult than I thought it was going to be. As far as where Walking Dead goes after this season, I do think that we're hitting near an end. Most shows nowadays go to about 6 or 7 seasons. This would be the 8th season. Even though there's more material for them to cover, I do think that we're getting into a comic book realm that maybe is not going to be suitable for television anymore on that station, unless, you know, they start going to a programming like HBO where no holds bar and anything goes. I do think that the world is amazing to explore. I do like the idea. I do like setting my morals aside and putting on what I call my Walking Dead morals, where I'm watching this as someone who would be living in it and saying, well, this is what I would do, this is what I would do, and looking at how harsh everyone is to each other because resources are so scarce. Let's move on and talk about Star Wars. I went out 2 weeks ago with my wife and her parents and saw Star Wars Rogue One. And then I loved it so much I saw it a second time. With Star Wars Rogue One, there are people that are very happy with what they did with that movie. There are the other people that are like, it wasn't for me. I understand that. This was a very, very different Star Wars movie. It was a movie that was designed to be completely about the drama of war and what can actually happen in wartime settings between two very powerful forces, the Rebel Alliance and the Empire. It was very much fun to watch. There was some comedic relief in a droid. I won't get too much into that. I thought he was a very compelling character, very cynical, and I loved his take on the world, or how he was programmed, whichever way you want to take that. I did enjoy one thing, and I hope that this doesn't become something that I have to champion down the road, but I want to champion it now because it is something to be said. The last 2 Star Wars movies championed a strong female lead, as well as a strong African American lead and a strong Hispanic lead. What that shows is that we've really turned a corner when it comes to what we're I'm trying to continue. I had this great programming set up for tonight. What the hell is that?
Milk.
Oh God, that's cold! Oh, that's cold! Woo! That is really cold.
Watch your us.
It's hard! The oil and the milk mixing together is quite not nice. Okay. Whew. What I enjoyed about this movie is that they put a huge amount of weight on Episode 4, which was the first Star Wars movie that was ever released. They took something that was very trivial, one sentence in the opening sequence, and one mention while they were talking about destroying the Death Star, and turned it into a full cinematic movie with very compelling characters, with a very compelling storyline. If I decide to cosplay this year at any of the conventions I go to, I have it on good authority that a friend of mine and myself will be cosplaying as 2 of very compelling characters in the movie. It was a joy to watch. It was a joy to see. It was an ending that you saw coming from the minute the movie began if you are a Star Wars fan. But the journey to get to that ending and the feeling of that ending did not get spoiled because you were expecting it. I cannot say enough good things about what they're doing with the Star Wars generation. I'm going to at least admit to you that we are a split household. My wife is Star Wars. I am Star Trek. But with our unity, she has taken on an enjoyment of Star Trek, and I've taken on an immense enjoyment of Star Wars. But I will say this, if you ever see me at a Star Wars movie, I'm wearing Star Trek clothing. Just to be a jerk. Anyways, we're going to move on to the exciting announcement with Star Wars. They announced what Episode 8 is going to be named. I'm actually seeing powder lines in front of my face. Every time I move, there's like a smoke cloud. So if I look like I'm stoned, it's just the clouds. I like the name. There's a couple jokes out there right now, like that. If you put the three titles together, like what the next title is going to be in that, it's The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi from his nap. I thought that was pretty cute. The Last Jedi is a great teaser to what we all hope the movie to be. There are a lot of people out there that are looking at the movies that are being made right now and say they don't speak to them. If you are a teenager from the ages of 14 up to about 21, 22, that's who the target audience for these movies are. They want to capture our money, me being in my mid-30s, just as much as they want to capture the money from there, but that's who these movies are being made for. That's who they hope the morals of the movie, the action of the movie, the comedy of the movie is going to resonate with, because these are the next generation of Star Wars fans that they want to see rise up so they can continue with this franchise in a way that didn't seem imaginable a couple years ago once Episode 3 ended, because of all the hatred for the first 3 episodes. I'm not going to hate on them. I'm just going to say that there was a lot left to be desired. I don't know what I did wrong this time. I have no idea what I did wrong this time. I thought I was doing good. What did I do? I can't see the comments yet. I will be able to see your comments next episode. I have worked that out, but I haven't worked it out for this one. What did I do wrong?
Don't replace with ah.
I did not say
No, you said ah. You're replacing. Jackie told me to.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you so much. These are not gluten-free. I can't eat them right now. I'm on a diet.
They are too gluten-free.
I'll pick that up later. I'm a really oily cereal bar right now. Anyways, I lost my train of thought. We were talking about Star Wars, The Last Jedi. We were talking about who the next generation is going to be for with the Star Wars movies. So, I mean, that's who they're really talking to. They are talking to that generation, as well as trying to give things to our generation to make us want to watch it, spend our money, have a good time. I think that this movie will do more than The Force Awakens. The reason I say that is because Rogue One was never going to do as much as The Force Awakens. It is not part of the original trilogy. It is not something that diehard fans were going to latch onto and accept as part of canon as easily as The Force Awakens, because we all knew that there was an episode 7 written. There was an episode 8 written. There was an episode 9 written. We want to see that come to fruition. I am looking forward to what the side movies are going to be, but I am really, really looking forward to the first preview of this movie. I want to see what Luke Skywalker says in the preview. I want to see what Rey's kind of training is like if he decides to train her. I want to know the relationship between Rey and Kylo Ren. I want to see if the Finn and Rey romance blossoms. I want to see what kind of relationship Chewbacca forms with whoever's going to be driving the Millennium Falcon, because I can guarantee you the Millennium Falcon is going to be in the next episode. It is going to be a very highly anticipated movie. If you have never been to a Star Wars movie on opening night, I highly recommend it. It is probably one of the biggest celebrations of nerd fandom. I am a Trekkie. I love Star Trek movies. I think that they are so much fun, and I hope that in the generations to come, we actually lean towards more of a Star Trek way of living. It's not going to happen anytime soon, but I hope we do. But at a Star Wars opening night, you have people dressed up, you have lightsaber battles, you have just people enjoying it with other people. You will be amazed at how many people will just come to you and talk to you because you're debating someone about if Kylo Ren is the most emo villain of all time, or if he's actually badass because he was using the Force to keep his internal organs in during the fight in Episode 7, while he was fighting Rey, who was just learning about her powers. I'll leave that for you guys to debate. But the last thing I'm going to say about the Star Wars franchise is I think Disney is the right place for it right now. I think they have the money and the financing and the wealth of directors, actors, and casting to really do something well with it. There is some concern about Disney buying up all these different franchises. I'm not concerned. I think Star Wars is going to thrive and become one of the most pop culture icons of this century. And it just started. So that leads to the advice portion of my show. Last week it was about politics. I enjoyed hearing from some of you. I enjoyed debating some of you. I enjoyed hearing both sides of the argument, even though mine was basically in the middle. But tonight I'm going to talk about dating and what people can do to really find that special someone. The dating advice I'm going to give you is predicated on the fact that if you are infatuated with someone, this advice is not for you. And I will explain what an infatuation is. An infatuation is any time you perceive someone to be out of your league, a guy, a girl, anyone, you perceive them to be out of your league. So you do not talk to them, but you check everything that they post on Facebook. You check everything that's on them on social media. If you know they're going to be out somewhere, you try to make your presence there. You hope one day that they're going to notice you, or that they're going to talk to you, or they're going to make a first move. And while this is all going on, they do consider you a really good friend. If you do not have the courage or the wherewithal, or, you're not compelled enough to go to that person and tell them how you feel, it's an infatuation. If this person is not attainable to you, where they are a celebrity or they are someone who you see but you have no interaction with them whatsoever, that's an infatuation. This advice is for people who are willing to put themselves out there in certain ways. What did I do? Okay, so I did something. I don't know what I did. I've been trying really good. What did I do? What did I do?
I just want to be a supportive wife.
Oh, God! I thought that was sugar! Jesus! Okay! Can you take serious dating advice from someone who's got egg all over their face? I hope you can. I told her to keep this hand clean because this is the hand I have to shut off the live feed with. I don't know how I'm going to do that right now, so the show might be going on for a couple hours. But we'll see what happens. Seriously! Okay. Back on target. I'm happy whoever's here is still here. So this advice is not for someone who has infatuation. This advice is for someone who feels compelled enough to talk to that person, who feels compelled enough to express your feelings to that person. The first thing that I'm going to say is slightly non-romantic, and it's something that I don't think a lot of people talk about when it comes to dating or it comes to the person that they want to spend the rest of their life with, or they want to get to know better, or they want to have some sort of physical relationship with. And that is, you need to know your own limitations. Now, that is not a slam against anyone. You know, like, I'm not talking about, the number scale, even though that kind of plays into it a little bit. You know, like they say, if you're a 3, don't go after someone who's a 7. You know, like if you go and watch Jim Jeffries, he does this great sketch about, like, if you're a 5 and you can get an 8, you're doing well. It's funny. But I'm going to take it a little bit more in depth to that. Let's take a really famous celebrity that a lot of people know, a cosplayer by the name of Jessica Negri. Jessica Negri is hilarious. She's wildly intelligent. She is, for all intents and purposes, a blonde bombshell. I'm not focusing on her looks. I'm focusing on the complete package. She's made a living off of doing funny videos like the one that I'm attempting to do right now. And she has a boyfriend as far as I know. But because she's really funny, because I'm going to get something slammed at me, I have an itch. I apologize. So whatever comes next. But she is someone who, can only date one person. But there are a lot of people who, want someone like a Jessica Negri in their life. With someone like that, you have to take stock of who you are. Are you still living at home with your parents? Are you having fully employed? Do you have a job? Are you fully stable? Do you have your finances in order? Can you offer her something? Are you intelligent? Can you hold an intelligent conversation with her? These are all things. Will she come down the stairs and ridicule Bubbles?
Talking about dating. I thought you needed a little help.
Oh, a little ambiance?
Little ambiance. Little love. Little love.
Thank you. Yeah. Bubbles in the night. I'm going to take like a 45-minute shower after this.
Yeah, you can watch Zoe off too. She's covered in syrup.
Okay. No syrup.
No syrup. That's
no syrup. Do not try to coax my wife into syrup. For the love of all that you know. No syrup. No. So, what I mean by that is that if you want a Jessica Negri, or you want someone who's that high on all the scales, professionalism, celebrity status, wildly intelligent, extremely good looking, very successful, you have to match what they are doing. And what I mean by that is, if you have decided for yourself that you need someone in your life that is wildly successful, you better be wildly successful. If you want someone who's intelligent, be intelligent. If you want someone to be a sarcastic jerk with you, then be a sarcastic jerk. I mean, you can really dictate what kind of relationship you're going to have really early on, and be yourself. So know your limitations and be yourself. Now let's get into be yourself. What I mean by be yourself is that if you have fandom, if you have interests, find someone that maybe doesn't have the same interests but tolerates your interests, or is excited by your interests. When we first started dating, my wife and I, she had interests that were much more nerdy. I was more of an in-the-closet nerd. I actually did a lot of high school sports. I was captain of my basketball team. I know it's hard to know because, I'm covered in Cheerios and oil. But what ended up happening is that she brought out a better me, a more me, and it really has enhanced my life. It's made my life better, and that's what you can get if you are yourself with that person. If you are constantly trying to impress that person, what ends up happening is you are not living the life the way you should, and you end up always feeling like there's something better, there's something lacking. That person will have a high expectation that that is going to happen for a while, and it's not something people can keep up with. At some point you have to be yourself, and if you're not yourself, you're not in a true relationship. So be yourself, know your limitations. Okay? The next one is the most difficult one, and it is probably something that's said a million times over, and I'm not going to try to put any other kind of spin on it other than this is something that is really true. Fortune favors the bold. One thing that I've learned is if you talk to a female long enough and you don't make a move, or if you are a male going after a male and you don't make a move, or if you're a female going after a female and you don't make a move, whatever the situation is, or if you're a female, you find a male and you don't make a move, what happens over time is that the conversation becomes less about physical and more about laughter and happiness and so on and so forth. And if they never know that is something that was on the cards for you, or that is the intention of why you went up to them in the first place, then it's only natural for people to then go, okay, well, this is a friend. So I always say it's always better early. Now, a lot of people will tell you that, people will start dating after they've been friends for a long time. That's not the norm. The norm is you see someone that you're interested in, you go up, you make some light conversation, and then you make a move. And I'm not talking about like, you want to come back to my place, or, I packed my toothbrush. I'm not talking that lewd. But I'm talking about, I would like to take you out for a cup of coffee. First episode. I'd like to take you out for a cup of coffee. I'd like to take you out to dinner. I'd like to take you to somewhere where we can have a conversation that's not as loud as this bar, or, passing you in the mall while you're working. Any situation along those lines. And here's the other part to that. You're going to get rejected a lot in the beginning because you're searching for that special someone. So rejection's a part of it. You embrace rejection. Rejection is not just a rejection upon you. It's a rejection because maybe there's someone else that they're interested in. So you never even had a chance. But the more you get used to rejection, that'll bring us to the next scene, which I will talk about after whatever the heck she's going to do. Okay.
I just wanted to add in your cool opening line of, I'll have what she's having, which actually worked. And I sat and talked to him for 6 hours, and now this is what I do on Wednesdays. So, but it's a little sugar and spice because I love you.
Thank you. My hair is caked.
Good conditioner. You're back.
Okay, I've gone from cereal bar to cinnamon bun. Excellent. I love sugar. And cinnamon. Excellent. Yeah, my opening line was, I'll have what she's having. She was, my wife was ordering a coffee. I was behind her in line. She actually ordered the coffee I was going to get. And I said, I'll have what she's having. She turned around. Definitely had a smirk on her face like that was a horrible line. But she smiled. And I took the moment to sit down with her and we talked for 6 hours. I recommend it to anyone. But what I was going to say is rejection leads to the next part of my advice for dating or, acquiring a girlfriend. Confidence. Everyone, for the most part, is attracted to confidence. I absolutely had to have confidence before I would ever consider doing a podcast. Because basically right now, I don't know what you guys are saying about me. I can't see the comments. I'm basically looking into the camera and talking to you like you're in the room. Confidence is very alluring, is very attractive, and it's something that is in rare supply. So the more you get rejected, it's really weird, but the more confident you're going to get because those rejections are not going to sting as much. They're not going to sting as hard. And that confidence will just bleed over to other aspects of your life. If you feel like you can get anyone in the dating pool, there's a good likelihood that you can, with limitations in mind. You just really have to be confident. So that's one of those things that I really wanted to impress upon all of you, is that the more you work on that, a lot of things get better in your life, not just the dating aspect. So do not be afraid of rejection. Go out there. Ask them. Don't be creepy. I'm not saying be creepy, and I know I said that before, but I just want to really stress that. Don't be creepy, but be confident. Go out there. You see someone that looks cute, walk up to them. Okay, you're in ThinkGeek, okay, which I'm going to tomorrow. You're in ThinkGeek, and they're looking at the Harry Potter stuff, and you look at them and say, "What house are you?" Watch what happens. Okay, they're looking at Doctor Who. Well, who's your favorite Doctor? Okay, I mean, there's a million different ways to start the conversation. I don't recommend talking about the weather. I don't recommend talking about politics or religion, but I do recommend going up to them and trying something. And try things. You see a girl or a guy or someone you find cute and you're liking how they laugh with their friends, go up to them and just say something. And if you fail miserably, you went down swinging, and good on you. And if I see it in person, I'll come over there, give you a high five, and I'll be like, "Hey, let's go get a taco or something." But what'll end up happening is you'll start to get into patterns where you'll know what to say. You'll become a better conversationalist, and it does lead. Now, if you're someone who is very shy, there's advice I'll give you for that. If you're very shy, that's not a problem. There are other people out there. Whether you're looking for someone who's the exact opposite of you and very outgoing, or you're looking for someone that does enjoy less conversation, I'm not the guy for you. I can tell you that right now. But you can go on dating websites and put your profile out there. It's not as risky and it's not as problematic for having to start the conversation. Starts off slow with a couple emails here and there, and you can get more comfortable. But if you are looking to date, whether you are confident and you want to go out there and you want to meet them the old-fashioned way, or you want to go online, go to like Match.com or one of those sites and find them that way, That's great. I also, this is going to come off as a little bit of a shock, but you want to know what? Talk to your family. That's another tough one. But I recommend it. And what I mean by that is your family always has their best interest out for you. For most people. I'm not saying that all families work well, but normally for most families, you can find someone that you feel close to, and they've known you your entire life. So they're going to have a unique perspective on what they think of who you're dating or who you're thinking of dating, and they're going to give you bluntly honest opinions because they value you so much. They want to make sure that you're going to be happy for a very long time. So, you want to make sure that, if you say, "Hey, what kind of girl or what kind of guy do you see me with?" And they'll tell you what they think. And sometimes, they can be completely off base, but more often than not, as you get older, you start to realize that they had their best interest out there for you, for the most part, for most people, not everyone. And they're going to give you good, sound advice. Because eventually, if it does become serious with someone, you're going to end up having to meet them. Or they're going to end up having to meet your people, and you're going to have to meet theirs. And, then that will help you. I hope any of this helps you. I really do. She's coming downstairs, so I'm not going to start my next thing. What did you guys want her to do this time? Just ask. Seriously. I did not foresee... This is a new shirt, by the way. This is a brand new shirt.
Stop saying,
Oh, God. Oh. Okay, that's a lot! ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. That doesn't make it better.
Because now you have lipstick on your face.
Okay. Oh, wow. That is liquid everywhere. Everywhere. Okay. So that's basically the show. If you have any comments, questions, or anything along those lines, please feel free to ask them at Nerd Attempts to Save the World. I'll respond to any messages. Just so you know, to make this show better, I did start a Patreon. Most of the money in the beginning of this Patreon is going to be to make this show better. Better sound, better cameras, better equipment, and that's what I'm really going to focus on. I do have a shout out to our first Patreon, Weston's dad. Thank you so much for being a Patreon. It means the world to me. It means that you believe in me. He's our first one. I hope he won't be our last. Just go to patreon.com/Nerd Attempts to Save the World acronym. NATSTW. I got it right. Once again, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed me getting basically lambasted by my wife. You can stick me in the oven right now, and I bet you I would make a very delicious breakfast. Very fat heavy, though. Anyways, next week, we are going to have a guest. Kyle Schaub is going to be on the show. We are going to talk about Doctor Who, the new season coming up, the departure of Capaldi. We are going to have a shout out to John Hurt. We're going to talk about Attack on Titan Season 2. It's finally coming. Let's get excited. We're going to talk about the new video game Resident Evil 7. I'm going to let Kyle explain what he is so excited about with that. And then also, for the advice, we're going to talk about what is LARPing, live action role play. So please stay tuned. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go take a shower. Good night.